Hey guys, in today's video I wanted to show you how I did this flame nail art. I'm gonna teach you step by step so you guys can do this at home. But first, I'm gonna start getting the form ready and I'm gonna put it completely straight because in today's video I'm gonna be doing square shaped nails. Also, I'm gonna be using different types of colored acrylic, but I'm gonna be starting with these two, a little bit of yellow and then some pink. In this first nail, what I'm going to try to do is this type of ombre design, but it's going to be a little bit different than what I'm used to doing because it's going to be in opposite ways. So I'm going to start with the yellow acrylic and I'm only going to be adding a little bit up near the cuticle. Now that I have this done, I'm going to start creating the ombre design. So I'm going to be using the pink acrylic, and like you guys can tell, first I'm going to be mixing both of the colors until they melt together. To do this, I'm going to use my brush to push the acrylic upwards. Now I'm going to keep adding some more bits until the entire nail is created. Like you guys can tell, I'm going to be doing very long nails, so it's going to be a little bit over XL size. And an extra step that I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be encapsulating this nail. This is usually what I like to do when I create this type of ombre designs because I feel like it makes the whole design look better. And this is how the first nail ended up looking. Now I'm gonna move on and do the second one. Here I'm also going to create this type of ombre design, but I'm gonna change the colors. I'm gonna be using the same light pink and I'm gonna add a darker one. The difference here is that the ombre is going to be in opposite sides, so I'm going to start using the darker pink, and here I'm going to create the tip of the nail. I'm going to keep pushing the acrylic upwards until it gets on the middle of the nail. I'm going to be using the lighter pink, and here I'm going to keep pushing the acrylic downwards until both of the colors mix well. I recommend you to create pretty liquid bits so this whole process can be easier for you. I'm going to be encapsulating this second nail just like I done before. I'm going to keep adding some of these crystal clear acrylic bits until the entire nail is well covered. Now, one of the most important steps in my opinion is adding a little bit of pressure on the sides. So what this is going to do is that it's going to make your nail look more natural. It's going to have this type of C shape. And this is how it looks like. Now I'm gonna start creating the third nail. This one is going to be pretty much like the second one. I'm gonna be using the same colors, so I'm gonna start with a darker pink and I'm gonna keep pushing it upwards until it gets on the middle of the nail. I recommend you not to use too much product because you're gonna spend too much time filing. Now I'm gonna move on and create the ombre design. So I'm gonna be using the same acrylic, and remember to create liquid bits so the process can be easy for you. I'm gonna add the last bit up near the cuticle, but remember not to touch it because this can cause some lifting. And of course, I'm also going to encapsulate this third nail. I'm still gonna apply some pressure on the sides. Now moving on to the last nail, this one is going to be like the first one, so I'm gonna start using the yellow acrylic. I'm gonna be adding it up near the cuticle and slowly using my brush, I'm gonna push it downwards until it gets kind of in this size. Now I'm gonna start using the pink acrylic, and here is going to be the same thing. Basically, I'm gonna create this ombre design. I'm gonna push it upwards until both of the colors melt well. So I'm gonna finish up creating this nail. I'm gonna keep adding some more bits until it gets on the XL size. Just like I done before, I'm gonna keep adding some more bits until it's the thickness that I like. Now I'm gonna start encapsulating this last nail, and the way that I like to encapsulate is that I start from the top and then slowly using my brush I push the acrylic downwards until the entire nail is well covered. And this is how these acrylic nails ended up looking. Like you guys can tell, they don't look perfect, but that's why I always say that filing is one of the most important steps. When I file nails, I like to start by filing the sides, so I'm gonna put the file completely straight. And this is how the nails ended up looking after filing the sides. Like you guys can tell, they look a lot more defined. Now the last step to do is to file the surface, and I like doing this using my e-file, but if you guys want to, you guys can use any regular file. And here what I'm going to do is that I'm going to be filing down these nails until they end up being pretty thin. Also, if there's any bumps left behind, I'm going to make sure to file them. This is how the nails look like. Now everything is done, but before I create the design, I'm going to take off all the extra dust that is left behind. To create the flames, I'm going to be using this very thin nail art brush. I recommend you guys to use something that is extra thin, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to create these flames. And also I'm going to be using this dark blue nail polish. You guys can use any other color, but I really like the combination between pink and blue. I think that it ends up looking really cool. So the first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to create the outline of the flames. And I don't know if you guys can tell, but the flames on the front are going to be bigger than the ones on the side. Now that I have the outline done, I'm going to start filling it in with the same color. Be careful when you guys are doing this. You don't want to be going over the line, because then you're gonna have to start all over again. Now that I'm done, I'm gonna be curing everything for about 30 seconds because this is a gel polish. Moving on to the third nail, here I'm also going to create the outline of the flames, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but the pink acrylic serves as a background. I think that this combination looks really cool. When you guys are doing this, I recommend you to go slowly and do very thin lines, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to create this shape. And now that I have the drawing done, I'm going to start filling it in with the same color. And just like I done before, I'm gonna cure everything for another 30 seconds. Now the last step, I'm gonna be using this yellow gel polish, just like the yellow acrylic. And here what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna go over the outline of the flames. I recommend you to do this with the same thin nail art brush, otherwise it's going to be really complicated. And also another part that is very important is that you want all of the lines to kind of look the same. I think that adding a little bit of yellow gel polish is going to make the whole design look more complete. What I like to do is that first I create a very thin line, and then I go over it again until it's the thickness that I like. I'm gonna finish creating these yellow lines, and then I'm gonna cure everything for about 60 seconds. And this is how the flames ended up looking, but we're not completely done yet because we still have to add top coat, which is one of my favorite parts of doing encapsulated nails or ombre designs, because you really get to see how everything looks like. And the good thing about top coat is that it's also going to protect our design, so everything is gonna last longer. This top coat is a gel polish, so once I'm done adding it, I'm gonna cure everything for another 60 seconds. And this is how the final design ended up looking. Honestly, I love the combination between the blue and the pink. I think that it looks so cool. I know that this design is a little bit more difficult, but if you follow step by step, I'm sure they can do it as well. I hope that you guys liked this tutorial. If you did, make sure to subscribe and like this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!